Okay, let's rock and roll here. Okay, I'd like to call to order the Groveland Township Regular Board Meeting, September 14th. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And please be seated. Okay. Would you, Danielle, would you take a roll call, please?
Yes. 1 second. Bob DePalma,
I'm here.
Patty Back,
Here.
Shelley Kidd,
Here,
Jim Christopher,
Here.
Gina Muzzarelli here.
Okay, good. Full board. Everybody should have received a copy of the agenda for today's meeting. Are there any questions or comments on that agenda? If not, it should look good to me. We should be ready to go.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
I'll support.
Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye.
aye.
Aye.
Okay, all opposed? Okay, I think we've got a unanimous on that, okay. And then we should have a copy of the board minutes and the fire board meeting from August the 10th for the board, and you should also have the fire board meeting from August the 10th. And they look okay. Does anybody have any questions or comments on them?
There was one change on the
Okay.
motion for the drive-in. I made the motion to not approve an ordinance change. And it's written that Shelley made the motion, and I believe.
I did make the motion
No, I made the motion.
to deny. I made the motion to deny.
Right, no.
Oh, no,
not
it's,
to-
you're in there for the denial,
Yeah.
but she's talking about
Oh, okay.
the actual language
Right,
on
the actual motion, but I mean, again.
Oh, okay.
it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm having a little difficulty here.
Oh, sorry.
We'll
Am
speak
I-
up louder.
Am I
okay.
not loud enough?
A little bit not, yes.
Okay,
Okay,
that's on page 3, right?
yes.
Okay.
So it should just be reversed.
Okay. Is there any other questions or comments on it? If not, a motion would be in order to approve it with the amended change.
I'll motion to approve the minutes from August 10th with the amended change.
And is there a second to that?
I'll second.
I'll second it.
Oh, okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, we're unanimous again on it. Okay, very good. And did you also have the fire board meeting minutes? I had no questions on that one. Are we good with that one as well? For August
Yeah.
18th?
Yes.
Okay, there a motion to approve it as submitted?
I'll motion to approve the fire board minutes as submitted.
Patty, is there a second?
Second.
By Gina? Okay, any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Okay, we're off to the races now. Okay, next is moving to financials. We have budget amendments. Patty, did you-
I have no budget amendments at this time.
okay? And
And
accounts payable, did you want to move right to that?
yes, that's fine. Accounts payables are for 101 general, 249 building, 701 trust and agency come to a total of $22,970.91. And the fire fund accounts payables are $14,382.23. My motion is to approve the accounts payable as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
By
I'll
Gina?
second it.
Any questions or comments? Okay, it is for money, so Danielle, would you please take a roll call on it?
Bob DePalma,
Yes.
Patty Back,
Yes.
Shelley Kidd,
Yes,
Jim Christopher,
Yes.
Gina Muzzarelli.
Yes.
Okay, then everybody should have got a copy of all the, the supporting data for the bills. Are there any questions or comments, or Patty, did you want to say anything on the financial report for general fire building?
No, everything's in order there too, so I would motion to accept the financial reports for general fire and building as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Gina? Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, There must be a delay or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like a,
I'm sorry, Shelley, I think there's a little delay when you do it, so I apologize if that's happened. We'll try and leave a little more time then. Okay, if there are no further questions on that, well, there's really nothing to approve, it's just the financial report, so we've all seen them. Next goes the investment report, and Shelley, did you want to cover that?
I do not have one this month. I just received my LGIP statements this afternoon, and with all the tax payments, I did not get a chance to finish it up.
Okay, so we'll just hold that till next month then?
Yes.
Okay, all righty. Moving on to public hearings, we have nothing on public hearings, so we'll go right to presentations. And we had met earlier this week with our township auditor, Ken Pelka, and he had given us a preliminary review before then. So Ken, I'm going to turn this over to you to go over the audit, if you would.
Well, good evening, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well.
Okay.
Hey, Shelley. It's still tough getting used to these Zoom meetings, as you know, so just kind of bear with me. First, I just want to say, as usual, we really appreciate the opportunity to continue to serve as your auditors here at Groveland Township. The audit went very smooth as usual. We appreciate all the help that we received from everybody. The township is still in excellent financial condition. Yeah, I just wanted to touch base with a few of the pages. Hopefully everybody has copies of the reports, the audit report.
We all got them? Yep.
Yeah, if we could take a look at the your financial statements, which is the thicker of the reports that you have there, and flip to page 19.
Okay.
This is a summary page of the township as a whole with all of your departments in here. And we could just go through these. Your general fund that you see there includes your general operating fund as well as your infrastructure fund. And for financial statement purposes, we are required to combine those two funds. Your infrastructure fund was set up to set monies aside there for future capital projects that the township has in the hopper. And you've got some big ones that'll be coming up here in the next few years, next year. So in your general fund, your total revenues were just over almost 1.4 million. Operating expenditures were just over 904,000. Everybody see where I'm at right now?
Yes.
So you had a surplus in there for operations of just under $452,000. We have this other category called other financing sources and uses. So if we throw that in there, your actual net change in your fund balance for the general and infrastructure fund was a positive $465,146. You started the year with $5,151,534 and finished the year with just over 5.6 million in those two funds.
And just so everybody understands, because I know we talked about this at the meeting, but part of the reason for that is, if you recall, the road gravel mix took a significant jump last year, and so we agreed to forestall doing any road gravel last year and kind of doubled up on it this year. So that would have been at least probably 150,000 or so of that 400 grand would have been used for that. And if we had started paying for the Barron Road project, that's about another 240 something. So the reason we have that much surplus is because we delayed the gravel project and we haven't paid for anything else. We're putting money away for this fiscal year that we're in right now, which is going to get billed for the first half of Barron Road, and that came in better than estimated on the original price. We'll get to that later in the meeting, but it's roughly about 245,000, I think. And then the road gravel, we doubled up on this year, and I was able to secure another source for it. So instead of being $270,000, it's going to be $200,000. So that money that we kind of put away here this year is, just so everybody's clear, is going to be all used up and then some next year.
Well, it's good you got the money set aside like that.
Okay.
I wish all townships had that train of thought. The next column over is your fire protection. And Chief's doing a really good job. As you can see, your total revenues were just under 1.2 million. Your expenditures were almost 1.1 million. So you had a surplus in there of just over 90,000. We add in, there was 6,300 that came in from the infrastructure fund. So after that transfer in, your surplus was almost $97,000 for the year. So your total fund balance at the end of the year for the fire fund was $1,674,639.
And I think what was important to notice when we went through the preliminary review of this is where we had seen the fire department revenues dropping successively after a long period of time, which is what caused all the concern. Since Chief Mason's been installed now, this is his third year, I think, that we've done it. In all 3 years, the cash reserves have gone up. That's the important thing, I think, that comes out of that.
Right. And if everybody would, the graphs that you have there, can you flip to the second from the last page? And I just want to point out what Bob's talking about. You can see over the last 3 years, the fire funds, overall fire operations, the fund balance has increased. So back in 3/31/17, you were just over $1 million. As you can see, you're climbing up to close to 1,750,000 in there. So it's good to see. Now, one of the
I
things
don't know if anybody wants to.
If you have yours like that, can you hold it up to the camera so that anybody that might be calling in on the Zoom meeting could see the significance of what we're talking about there? Thank you.
Now, one thing that did come up in our discussion with the chief is to come up with a fund balance policy, if you will, for the fire department. And what I'm suggesting, just to have a better handle as far as breaking this fund balance out between regular operations, having enough in there for 1 year's worth of operations, and then taking the rest of it and segregating it for capital. Your larger capital improvements, a new fire truck, those types of things. So I think going forward, you're going to see this fund balance split between regular operations and then also capital improvements. I'm going to be meeting with Bob and the chief here next week to go over coming up with a policy for the board to review. Is there anything else you want to talk about on that, Bob?
No, I was thrilled at the results this year. Frankly, they were better than I expected.
Then your next department, your building department, it was all good news there also. Your total revenues were just over 169,000. Your expenditures were under 100,000. With the transfers in at the end of the year, you had a surplus in your building department of 89,129, increasing your fund balance there to just under $873,000. So when you look at the township as a whole, to have a surplus of over $651,000, that's phenomenal. And the great thing is that you've got those monies set aside for these future projects that you have coming down the pipe. Any questions or comments? Any discussion?
We got any questions on the board?
Just about this?
Yeah, about the audit?
Well, I did have a couple of questions, one page, there's a section. Let's see. It says individual funds and there's nothing behind it. Is there supposed to be? What am I missing? I've never seen an audit from a township before. So we would be looking at page, let's see, 56.
Yep, so the next page there, Gina, is the general fund. And we have like one page, this is general fund. Then you flip one more time, you'll see the balance.
The one before it. It's the one before that. It says individual, I have a page that says individual funds, and then there's nothing between that and the page that says general fund.
Yeah, I think he meant that as like a divider.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, got it.
I see what you mean. It's a little
Yeah,
confusing.
Yeah,
I see what you mean.
yeah, all right.
The accountants think a little different.
And then
Yeah.
it's different than school board, except for Gatsby. I recognize that. And then you did very well answer the questions that I had, regarding our internal controls and attributing them basically to just having a smaller office staff, so the checks and balances can be kind of precarious because there's, the same people checking all the time. And again, if you have any pointers or any suggestions on how we can improve, as you said, let us know. I know you will.
Yep, you bet, Gina. Yep.
Or Patty or Shelley, do you have any questions?
No.
Nope.
Nope. Okay, so I guess unless there's anything else, I think we're good on this.
If we could, Bob, if we could just have the board receive the report, and then we can get it on to the state of Michigan.
Oh, the report, the cover report?
Yeah, just the audit report.
Okay. Jim, I didn't mean to cut you out. I'm sorry. Did you have any questions before we go? No? Okay. Yeah, this is probably, Ken, I think the cleanest audit. I don't know, another way to say this, usually he has to find something that we did wrong, right? Like a couple years ago, we had somebody that accidentally paid some sales tax with the tax exemption. So, the way we fixed that was, say, if you pay that tax, it's out of your own pocket. So this I think is one of the cleanest reports we've had, Ken.
Yeah, no other comments. So that was a good thing. Usually we'll find a few checks that only have one signature, but we didn't even find that this year.
Okay. Anything else, Ken?
Nope, that's it for me tonight. Appreciate it, everybody.
I just could mention.
Thank you, Ken.
Anybody that's not gone through one of these audits, those 2 comments that are on the auditor's report to the state, when I first saw those some years ago, I was concerned about them too. But if you look, you'll find just about every single small township in the state of Michigan has the same statement. And that's because we don't have big enough staff to have somebody that acts as a secondary check within the organization. That's why we use the auditor to do it. Okay, that's accurate, Ken?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, you have a good night.
We saved you some drive.
Thank you. You also.
I can.
Bye, Ken. Thank you.
Guys, yep, bye.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have nothing under unfinished business, so we're going to move to a new business. I think I gave everybody a copy of the new.
Do we want to,
I'm sorry, what?
I'm wondering, do we want to make a motion to accept the audit as presented by Ken and?
Yep, you're right, Patty. Let's. Is that your motion?
I motion that we accept the 2019-2020 audit as presented by Ken Polka with Pfeiffer, Hannaford, Polka.
Support.
I will second it.
Okay, any other questions or comments from anybody? Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, we're good. Okay, now we'll move on. Nothing under unfinished business. We'll move to new business. We got several items on there today to talk about. I know some people have been asking about whether or not they were still going to have no-has days, and Vinny, our cable manager, has been trying to put stuff up when we get the information. It looks like they have decided to have the last 2 collection days, and they're going to be done at the Oakland County Complex. So that information is available. We have a couple of flyers up here.
Facebook and
It's on Facebook and it's on the sign, and it's also on the website at Oakland County for their solid waste program. So the next one, I believe, is.
We had a question from a resident wanting to know if they would accept Mercury.
oh,
The best place to do that, if they got a question on a specific thing and it's not on the website, I would say is to call Whitney Callio at Oakland County. Whitney is kind of like Miss Solid Waste in this no-has program. She will know, one, if they will take it from the vendors, and if they don't, she probably has someplace you can do it. But I know in the past, I think they were apprehensive. I couldn't get them to get rid of the mercury I had a few years ago. But Whitney is the person to talk to that would be able to answer it for them.
Also, we had someone in today who was trying to register online, and it didn't let him pay online. So I'm not sure what that means. I'd continue to try if you're gonna go to do it, but you might have to pay when you get there. You might not be able to pay online. It wouldn't let them do it.
Everbright, they're using the, do the payment. on-
Yeah, the Eventbrite, yes.
Again, I wish I could answer more for you, but the problem is, we don't do any of it here. It's all done through the county for us. And the county does the systems on it. So again, I'm just telling you, Whitney Callio is the person kind of dedicated to this.
So her information is wrmd@oakgov.com. So if you've got a copy, you want a copy of this, Chief, and you can pass it along?
Okay, now, the other thing that we need to talk about a little bit today here is because they've changed the number of no-has days and because the costs are predicated in part on the number of people that show up, and then the administrative costs get spread over all the participants, and some of that's changed. I sent you some information on what we should end up doing, but I think you can see that still for Groveland Township, the amount of money estimated is just under $2,500, and this is money well spent for us. When we don't do this program, stuff starts showing up at the intersections of roads out here, and people call either the fire department or me to say, there's 4 or 5 barrels of something out here or gallons of something, and we don't know what it is. Can you pick it up? So this program has pretty much eliminated that, I think, for both of us, hasn't it?
Except when you call me.
Except when I call them. So, I just sent this to everybody on the board so you'd have a copy of the current charges. I don't think it's significant money, but I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of it going forward. Next item is to discuss the Barron Road participation. I gave you some information I got from the folks over at the Road Commission. There is an agreement that I have to sign tomorrow, assuming it's agreeable to everybody on the board. But in 40 years, this is the first time the Road Commission came back to me and said, we set it out for bids, and we actually got better prices than we thought at the beginning. This had started out at $5.5 million, and then they told me it was going to be $6 million. And the way the projects work with the Road Commission, it's basically you agree to get a project done on a preliminary estimate. When they actually get the bids back from the different contractors, that's when they tell you what the final cost is, and you really have to pay it. In this case here, it came back at $5,470,000, so it's a little bit better. We are using some of our tri-party funds to pay for some of it, which is the money we get from the county that we can use for various road projects. And you should see it in the document you have there. But I need to sign this because what's going to happen is we're going to get billed for roughly, we're probably going to get billed for about half of $423,644 plus our tri-party contribution from 2020 this year. And then next year we will get the 2021 tri-party contribution, the other half of the bill after the job's completed. And in 2022, the third tri-party program money will be in there before we start getting it back to use it for other projects. So if you have any questions on it, I would suggest take a look at this stuff, but it's pretty cut and dry. This is you either do these projects the way the county wants it because they come from federal aid that pays for 80% of the money and the county pays for 10% of it, or you don't get the road paid. So it's a pretty good deal for us. And I believe this fall they're going to start taking down some of the trees, and then next summer or spring they will start actually working on the road and probably have it closed except for local traffic for a good part of the time while they're taking the hills and the valleys and filling the valleys and cutting down the hills to make it safer. So if there's no questions on this, I would like a motion to go ahead and sign the revised the agreement they sent us so that we could go forward with this. Okay, that's my motion. I'll make a motion that I sign the tri-party agreement here and the road program to get the Barron Road paving project approved for payment going down the road. Is there a second?
I'll second. I'll second. It's Patty.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the board? If not, because this is money, could you take a roll call vote on it?
Patty Back,
Yes.
Kelly Kidd,
Yes.
Jim Christopher,
Yes.
Gina Mazzarelli,
Yes.
Bob DiPalma.
Yes, okay, I'll sign it tomorrow and we'll send it on its way. And next is, we have had one of our long-term members on the planning commission, Jean Sova, and I had even lost track of it. She's been on the planning commission just under 24 years, which is a long
1997.
time. And she's really been very good. She's very competent and comprehensive when she looks at the issues and addresses them, but for personal reasons, she is asked to step down from the planning commission. And so if COVID wasn't here, we'd have a little gathering for her. We'll have to do something later. But we need to make an appointment to fill the balance of her position going forward. And over the year, I typically receive resumes from people that might want to be on the planning commission or the BCA because they're excellent training for anybody that wants to get involved in the government here. And I have had an occasion to have a couple of calls. I keep these in a file, so just to the general public, if you ever want to be considered for the planning commission or the BZA, drop me an email with your resume on it. I keep them in a file, and then when an opening comes up, I look at them and see who I think the best candidate for the job is. The problem is I can't tell you when that will happen because sometimes we go 10, 12 years and nobody leaves. And then sometimes 2 or 3 people decide I'm retiring and going to Florida in the next 2 months, and we get 2 or 3 openings. But I had the opportunity this year to talk a couple of times to Jenny McKay, and I think most of you probably know them. They're a family that's been in the township a long time. They have a beautiful farm up in the northwest corner of the township, and Jenny has a wonderful professional background, being from the Waterford School District and involved in the benefits and stuff there, which I think would be a help. So she was interested in doing it, and my recommendation to the board is that we appoint Jenny McKay to the Planning Commission to take Jean Sova's place going forward for the balance of her term. Is there any comments or questions from anybody on the board from that? Okay, if not, does someone want to make the, well, I made the motion, I guess. I made the motion to put her on. If somebody would second the motion, we'll take a vote on it.
I'll second it.
Jim, that's you? Okay. Let's do it with a roll call. Okay, all in favor of approving Jenny McKay for the opening on the Planning Commission to fill Jean Sova's spot, say aye.
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 Okay, all opposed? Okay, I'm not sure if you're on, Jenny, but if you aren't, I'll call you tomorrow. Okay.
And thank you.
Okay. Okay, next is Patty, I think, I'm sorry, the cable manager. We did put an ad in the local paper for a couple of weeks for cable manager, and actually the only resume that came back was Vinnie Bills, and he's just been doing an absolutely outstanding job for us. One of the things we had heard from people during the campaigning stuff was you needed to be more on Facebook, and a lot of people don't want to bother to watch the entire Facebook videos we make. So we've started, I think they call it pushing them out to the public, and we'll try and do them in 1 and 2 minute little blitzes. I did the first one weekend to announce the opening of the ORV park. So if you don't know, the ORV park opens to the public this Thursday. The formal dedication was last Thursday. This weekend there was a special event, the same one that was there last year, which was called Four Fest. They had about 400 plus Jeeps there and a few thousand people. And it just went off great without a hitch. Yeah, who's this?
That's Brent.
Brett, we'll take questions at the end, okay?
Okay, because I submitted a application.
Oh, okay, I didn't get it, but okay.
We all received one, I believe. I was in the office that day.
I didn't get one.
I did not see.
You got it in your email, Brett? Well, why don't you send it to me, okay?
Send it to you through email?
Yeah, if you can. That way I make sure I get it, okay?
When did you send it?
I brought it.
He brought it in.
On July 9th.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't get it, but if you can send it to me on email, I'll keep it here. But anyway, back to where we were, Vinny's been doing a great job on it. I think he's done a wonderful job. I see no reason to change the arrangement. It's not a contracted for thing, but he's been doing a good job. He's been very responsive on things that we need. He was out at the ORV park with me for that little video and a number of other ones. So at this point in time, I'm recommending we stay with him as the cable manager.
Without even considering mine, right?
Well, Brent, we just changed because of your request, so yeah, I can't see going back right now. Vinny stepped in on short notice, did a wonderful job for us, doing a couple of things new that we needed to do. I'm recommending we stay with him.
Brent, what has changed that has changed your mind? Because, I mean, everything that was going on at the time that made you want to leave is still going on.
Well, I just wanted to mention the fact that Bob had me come in on May 11th to change the sign out front saying that the office was open to the public. And I made a comment to him when I came in that I didn't think that the office was supposed to be open to the public and that everyone in there was supposed to be wearing face masks. I asked Bob if that was supposed to be allowed yet, and he said yes. And on my application, on the back of it, is the governor's Executive Order 2020-77, which states that all people inside the office were supposed to be wearing face masks, and that the office was not supposed to be open to the public until June 1st. And I got rather upset that he just brushed me off. So that's the reason for that email I sent. And then
That's several of them, Brent. I think you sent 3 that day or that day and the next day, but you know, the building department is what we ordered for doing field inspections for people. And as far as the mask, actually, it depends if they say they have a pre-existing medical condition or not. We're not under HIPAA entitled to ask them. You expressed that you were very uncomfortable, and I said nothing to you except, I understand, I want you to be comfortable. You said, hire somebody if you want, and that's exactly what we did. So I'm not about to change my mind now. This has worked very well. I'm happy to be a reference for you if you want someplace else, but I do not anticipate changing this now. It's working very smoothly.
And I'm going to support that because the dynamic hasn't changed as far as whether there's civil rights infractions versus what the governor decides she wants us to do. So we are doing business because we're here to represent the residents, and we will be available for them.
that's funny because another township went by these orders of the governor.
That's their choice.
That's all water under the bridge now.
That's
It's not
their
going to
choice.
change anything. I see no reason to change it.
So you lied to me.
That's enough, Brent. We're not going to go there.
Okay.
You feel whatever you want, you do whatever you want, but we're not going to change it. I've made my motion. Is there anyone on the board that feels otherwise?
No.
If not, we're going to move on.
I believe,
Pardon me?
as far as, I didn't receive a copy of Vinny's resume, and one of my concerns is with the cybersecurity. What knowledge does he have with that? And I know Brent is quite knowledgeable of it.
Well, Vinny has been able to get all of our video stuff going quite quickly, very rapidly, and make changes in a very timely manner. We haven't had any problem with anybody.
That wasn't the question. It was about cybersecurity.
IT right.
That's what we have IT right for.
Shelley, this is Vinny. What exactly are you worried about our cybersecurity? Did we get hacked when I was under, and what
No,
is-
but there are different programs, and there are things that need to be watched. for
Right. I watch all that, but I'm just
and prevented.
what changed when
Well, I mean, it was a question. I mean,
I was just curious if something had changed that prompted that question.
no.
Okay.
I haven't noticed any, but it is a concern, because that's all of my teaching has, with cybersecurity on the rise, as far as being hacked, and it's just a concern.
That's why we pay IT, right? Okay, any other comments there? Okay, if not, move on to Patty. I think you put this item E on here, the webcams.
Were you, yes, did you make a motion to stay with Vinnie, or
Yes. someone has to
Do we have to vote
we
on
need a
that?
second?
I don't think we need to support on it. There's no contract, so there's not a locked dollar amount that's required.
Okay.
Or contract would be. All of the employees that we use for that stuff are 1099. We just
They're
keep
at
on
will.
using it.
Correct.
Well, for
Okay.
the first payment you paid him for the first month and a half, how did you write the check? Did you write it directly to Vinnie?
I hired him. We paid him for what he did, that he had earned, and that's what he got paid for.
Because he did not have a business license at that time.
Brent, you need to get over this because it's not going to change. End of discussion, Brent.
We can't vacillate on
Yeah,
something.
I'm not gonna vacillate over trying to change every little issue that you wanna bring up. It's irrelevant. It's working very well now, better than it ever has, and it's done. Okay. To the webcams, Patty?
Yes. So, the treasurer's office and the clerk's office, and the administration and the elections office. None of the computers at present have cameras and able to do any Zoom meetings and so on and so forth. So I did reach out to IT Right, asking if they would give us a quote for 5 webcams. And they did, and each one would be $74.99 each for a total of $374.95. So as we continue to move into having Zoom meetings and such, I'd like to see these computers have the webcams on them. So we're not all kind of scrambling to figure out how we're gonna get to a meeting or do our own meetings, as a matter of fact. So that's my motion is to purchase 5 webcams for the office computers that are not equipped with cameras and voice for $374.95.
Okay, that's your motion. Is
I'll
there-
second it.
Shelley seconded.
Shelley, you second it?
Yes.
Okay. All right, then, will you take a roll call vote, Danielle?
Shelley Kidd,
Yes.
Jim Christopher,
Yes.
Gina Musarelli,
Yes.
Bob DiPalma,
Yes.
Patty Back.
Yes.
Patty, are you gonna take care of ordering? You had the price quote from IT?
Yes, I am.
Okay, no. All right, next item on the agenda is the step increase for the office administrators. Patty, do you want to
Yes.
do that?
Yes. So Danielle is due for her first step increase, and that amount is $500. So also in June, Teresa was due for one for herself. So I motion that we give the $500 6-month step increases for Teresa and Danielle, the administrators in the office, with Teresa's to be prorated back to the June. And that's my motion.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that.
Jim? Okay.
And these are what we discussed in the budget, right? This is nothing.
Yes,
Regular.
yes, they were. Yes.
Okay, is there any questions or comments from the board? Okay, if not, Danielle, would you take a roll call?
Jim Christopher,
Yes.
Gina Musarelli,
Yes.
Bob DiPalma,
Yes.
Patty Back,
Yes.
Shelley Kidd.
Yes.
Thank you. Next item on it is item G, discuss moving 400,000 out of the general fund into the infrastructure fund. And basically what this is the money that Ken identified as the surplus at the end of the year because we deferred those expenses. And I think we should move that into the infrastructure fund so that next year we can use it to pay for the gravel and the paving on first part on Barron Road. So that's my motion, that we move 400,000 out of general fund into the infrastructure fund. Is there a second?
I support.
Okay, Patty, okay. Any other questions or comments from the board?
Makes sense.
If, well, we're not actually spending money, we're just moving it, but do it on a roll call anyway, if you would.
Gina Musarelli?
Yes.
Bob DiPalma?
Yes.
Patty Back?
Yes.
Shelley Kidd?
Yes.
Jim Christopher?
Yes.
Okay. Next item is discuss the SMART contract for 2021. Patty, do you want to cover that?
Yes, so every year this is a SMART contract with the buses. And since we don't have bus service in our area and or a senior center, every year we give our amount, we split it between Brandon Township and the Village of Holly to use for their senior buses in their senior centers. So this year's amount total is $5,396. My motion is that we give half to Brandon Township and half to the Village of Holly for their senior buses, each in the amount of $2,698 for a total of $5,396.
Okay. Is there a second to that?
I'd second that.
Gina seconded it. Any questions or comments from the board? If not, Danielle, would you take a roll call on it?
Bob DiPalma?
Yes.
Patty Back?
Yes.
Shelley Kidd?
Yes.
Jim Christopher?
Yes.
Gina Musarelli?
Okay. The next item I want to talk about is discussing the transition. And Shelley, I think it would be beneficial if you and I and Teresa could sit down and go over some suggestions that Ken made. And I know you weren't feeling well last week, so is it possible that maybe tomorrow sometime we could sit down and have a discussion about how we might want to transition some of the things?
Well, there isn't really much to discuss.
No, I think it'd be better if we're just all on the same sheet of paper before we get to the end. I don't think it'll take that long to go over it, but Ken wrote a letter that of what he thought had to be done, and I think there's some other things like passwords and some of that stuff that we have to discuss as well. So will you be available tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see if we can do it in the morning. Okay.
Yeah, I think this is a great transition, the way he spelled it out. Honestly, I'd like to see a timeline on it, because some of these things.
Your timeline will be in November.
Well, no, there's things that need to be done before November 20th to make sure from after the 20th, things go smoothly. If the way I'm reading this, there are things that have to be implemented and taught before November 20th so that there's no glitch to the taxpayers. There shouldn't be any kind of bump for our constituents.
Well, it's not necessarily over right now.
What's not over?
The elections.
There's still a plan in place. So, okay.
In November, the books will be balanced and the accounts will be signed over if need be at that time.
And what about the BSNA?
What about it?
General recommendation is for Teresa to be able to understand the township's accounting, receipting, tax, accounts payable system.
Well, it's not my fault she doesn't know anything about the Treasury Department. She ran on procedural changes, and I assume that she knows all those by what she ran on.
She doesn't have BSNA passwords because they're being denied to her. So if we can't.
And she has them. I watched her on them today.
Okay, I want to know if you are going to keep everything running the way that it should and honor your oath of office.
And I believe I have been.
by not being here?
Every single payment that was received today has been processed. Distribution is being set up for to go out on Thursday. So I am doing everything that I swore that I would do under oath.
I'm going to request that you honor the meeting and talk, and I want to hear back that there is a plan in place, whether we need to engage, because it is my opinion.
Yeah, well, you're not telling me. Well, you can have your opinion.
And they are paying you over $5,000 a month plus benefits. So if you are not.
And I am doing my job.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Honor that, keep doing that, make sure that there is a seamless transition. If a transition does happen, all right, there has to be a seamless transition for the people you work for. If not, please understand, I will make a motion to appoint her interim treasurer immediately. You were voted on, you were appointed by the board, and we can vote you off now. And I will make that motion if you do not cooperate. I represent the township.
And I represent the township also.
Let's see if we can resolve this issue tomorrow at the meeting, okay? All right.
Tomorrow morning.
Next, we'll move on to resolutions, and that's to discuss National Recovery Month. You know, these are the kinds of motions that are submitted to us by the county periodically, and we always endorse them. You have language that deals with it for National Recovery Month for September, and we have another one for National Suicide Prevention also for September. So I guess at this stage, I would like somebody to make a motion first to support National Recovery Month as September this year, and in concert with the county's efforts.
I can make that motion to support National Recovery Month.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Patty?
Yes.
Okay, any other questions or comments? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, it's done. And now we need the same thing for Suicide Prevention Month, which is also.
And I will make that motion again, National Suicide Prevention Month, to support the county efforts in preventing suicide.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll support.
Any other questions on it from the board? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, those two are done. Move down to miscellaneous, and we have reports. So first, Holly Youth, I think, Shelley, that's you?
Yes. Our Kids for Cash, we did very well. We raised $677. And again, there was no meeting this month, but there was an executive board meeting that Tina had sent me notes on, which I'll read to you. School supply applications will continue to be accepted through the end of October, and requests are being filled as they come into the office. Newly added items this school year: mask, water bottle, and hand sanitizers. And Haya, along with Brandon Groveland Youth Assistance, will be offering a parenting program, Love and Logic, free of charge. This will be a four-session program beginning October 20th and ending November 10th. The session will be held on Tuesday evenings from 6:30 to 8. Flyers on the Haya Facebook pages and also can be obtained at the library and also Groveland Township Library. Well, I didn't know we had one, but we'll be distributing sites for the workbook that accompany the Love and Logic program. And then Haya also is looking into making available Holly Brasco's help cards, which would contain contact information for various agencies and organizations to aid in a variety of situations: suicide, personal safety, etc. The cards would be the size of a common business card. Approval would first have to come from Roper. Also, cost and distribution plans are being explored.
Okay, thank you.
That was it.
Okay. Anything else you wanted to report, Shelley?
Not for Haya, no. Oh, well, yes. Also, the golf outing that we just had this past Saturday. I believe what I heard, because they said it very fast, is very muffled, $33,089.
Wow.
Wow, pretty good,
Wow.
very good.
Yeah.
That's it, Brandon Grove on you. Patty, did you have anything for that?
Yeah, well, we had a Zoom meeting, but there weren't enough people in attendance to hold it. So we just caught up on some other issues for last month. There is one tomorrow. In the BGYA has supported summer tutoring, Brandon Junior Blackhawk football, soccer, Brandon Township Parks and Rec soccer, Brandon Township's Parks and Rec baseball, and also the parenting workbooks for Love and Logic, and the Brandon Township Parks and Rec soccer and baseball family movie night. And those all came to a total of $2,038 that they helped out in our community. There is a bottle drive we did. I don't know the cost or the amount that was brought in from that yet. That'll be discussed tomorrow. And other than that, that's all I have on the BGYA for now.
Okay. Let's see, Planning Commission. Jim, did you have anything you wanted to report on the Planning Commission?
You know, everybody, really nothing new. We hashed out as a board, as you might remember, regarding the proposed drive-in theater at the Renaissance Festival, and that's kind of old news now. So nothing new that's come to my attention.
Okay. Gina, was there anything for BCN? Did we have any?
Yes,
Oh,
we
yeah,
did,
sorry.
regarding the ORV park, the access off of Shields Road, a 2-year variance was granted so that they could use a special kind of gravel material that they say is better noise reduction as well as drainage.
It's crushed asphalt.
Crushed, yeah, okay, for that area entrance off of Shields Road, with the stipulations that they will still do the berm, we will still do everything else as required.
Yeah, actually, I noticed when I went there this weekend to check on it, they've done a lot of fencing and they got to do some more signage, I think, for safety. But they've really done a lot to try and get the park ready. It's in pretty good shape now. This
You
weekend
can't
was
enter it
before
from
that.
Shields yet though, right?
No, the gate's closed right now. Yeah. I mean,
Well,
walk around the gate. Yeah, you can't normally come. Okay,
That's it.
for the supervisor's report, I thought I'd take this opportunity. We've had some residents call in and either email or call us and ask us why are we doing something at the Renaissance Festival site for 2 weekends in September. And we finally found out what it is. It's not something that Groveland's doing. They're doing kind of a food fair where they're going to allow 30 cars to come in for a fee and then drive by food displays of, I guess, the food
Like
they
the-
normally have.
like
at
the
the-
state fair did?
Yeah, kind of. And they told me as a courtesy that they're doing it the 2 weekends. They're going to have 30 cars at a time and 30 waiting to go. So there won't be more than 60 cars on the property, but it's all done on the Holly side of the festival. So it's actually got nothing to do with Groveland Township. So if anybody asks you about the events at the Renaissance Festival in September, we have absolutely nothing to do with it. It's all on the Holly property going forward. The other thing I want to mention is the lobbying industry for the mining industry is just working overtime, trying to get that bill through that is going to make it just about impossible for us to do anything if somebody wants to mine property. And if you have an opportunity, you should really let our state senator, Ruth Johnson, know how much we appreciate what she's doing. She has literally been tireless on this. The last time I talked to her was Thursday night, and it was about 10 o'clock, and she was just coming home from Lansing and pretty frustrated, and we tried to set up a meeting with their representatives at one of our gravel pits to show them what the problems are, and they canceled it at the last minute, so she's trying to get another meeting set up. She has just been tireless at kind of leading the charge on this, and we'll continue to do what we can And I'll support her in any way I can, but they're making it very difficult. And our concern is, in the MTA News magazine, if you read the one that just came out today, there's a very nice article, letter from the director of the MTA, Neil Sheridan, who's a former resident of our township, kind of outlining what they're trying to do. And they appear to be trying to get it teed up for the lame duck session that happens between November and the end of the holidays. And if you know what typically happens, there's a whole onslaught of potential bills that get rushed through, or half of them don't read them, and they just try and get them shuffled through. And that seems to be their current strategy that they're working on. But Ruth and I are both working on trying to stop that going forward. For those of you who don't know, last Thursday we had the ribbon cutting ceremony. There were only 100 people allowed there under the governor's rules, so we had the ribbon cutting for the ORV park, and it went pretty well. I did a little blurb, like a 1-minute announcement of it that's being pushed into the Facebook stuff now. I think, Vinny, how many hits did we have?
We have on the one that you just did, we have just over 2,000, which is really, really good.
Like 2 days.
In 2 days, correct.
And then there were some people that asked about the car show that we did last year. We had some late discussion with it, but I honestly feel with the COVID going on, with the fact that the ORV park opens to the general public this Thursday, and we anticipate for the first couple of weekends, there's probably a large amount of pent-up people that want to go to it, you know, in the opening, that I didn't think it would be worthwhile to have the car show this year. We'll try and do it next year when things are back to normal, but I just thought it would only add to the possible congestion we might have for the first couple of weekends when the park opens. Plus, COVID makes it kind of hard to get around and talk to anybody. Most of the car shows have been canceled, so we'll try and do one next year for everybody. With that, I have nothing else. I guess, Patty?
Yeah. Okay, so,
Your report?
yep. Well, we're back, starting work and have been on the November election. So if anyone would like an absent voter application and you have not received one, please contact the office and we will be sure you get one. The ballots have not yet been received here. I'm hoping, or the timeline is they should come in somewhere around the 24th, and then we will get them started to be sent out that next week. I'd like to say a few things about the August 4th primary. Kevin Scramlin requested a recount, which was granted and was held on September 3rd. The outcome remained the same. Robert DePalma will remain the Republican candidate for the supervisor on the November ballot. During the recount, every precinct, including the ballots counted in the AV board, were able to be counted because of the hard work of the election workers in Groveland Township. These ladies and gentlemen, their attention to detail by all of them who worked in the precincts and on the AV counting board, that I commend them and I thank them, and I'm very pleased they work for us and donate their time or put their time forth. So at the end of the recount, board member of the Board of Canvassers approached Janelle and I, and she commended our AV counting board at what a great job they did. We had a numerous extra amount of ballots. I don't mean to make them extra, but we normally don't have as many AV ballots as we had ever. It was a record for now. November might be a bigger one. So I just want you to know, thank these people when you see them in your poll or if you see them on the street. They really are working. They made the process work. And I also would like to commend Janelle and Danielle for the work they did behind the scenes. They were super, beyond super. They made the day work. They did a lot of work. And, you know, it's a job, it's a process. And I'm pleased to say the people in Groveland Township saw to it the process was carried out correctly. So thank you, and that's all I have to say for now.
Okay. Did forget one thing on the supervisor's report. A lady came in today and asked about mosquito spray here that she had heard about. Right after she left, I got some information. So it is true. The state of Michigan is going to spray for equine encephalitis because about 20 some horses have died. There's been no people reported with it yet, but in 10 counties, they're going to be spraying. We don't have any option or control over this. It's the state that's doing it. So I just wanted to let everybody know. I think we have some information, Patty, on the counter if people want to grab that.
It's going to be, it gives a date of when it's going to be sprayed. I didn't grab one to bring it in. It's going to be done from, I believe, evening hours through the night till the break of dawn on a few days to cover the entire county.
Penny's putting it on Facebook and on the website for us.
Yes, yes, good.
What the claims are?
I don't know.
They're scoping it out?
Okay. If you saw a helicopter today, that was approved. It was just the National Guard going through some exercises with the Navy folks over there. Shelley, did you have anything else you wanted to cover for treasurer?
Yes. As I said, all the tax payments that came in the mail today and then also that were walked in today have all been processed. I do accept postmarks, but I would encourage people to call if they notice that it hasn't posted to see if it has, or so that they can come in, because otherwise there is the 1% interest going through the end of the month, and then the 1st of October there will be 1% more interest added to that. So just a little heads up on it, because I know the post office has been pretty slow. So, and if I do receive a second payment, I will void the first one and mail it back to them, or they can come pick it up or destroy it with whatever they prefer.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Anything
Welcome.
to comment on?
Nope.
Okay. Patty, I know you put in our packages here some miscellaneous resolutions from the county. I assume that's just FYI for us.
Yeah, they were just FYIs, yes.
Okay, so at this time, I'll open the meeting up to public comment. If you have a question you want to ask, indicate it. We'll try and go through anybody that's on the call.
Bob, I've got something to bring up.
Okay, Jim, go ahead.
I'd like to propose something. What it is I'd like to see if we could have 1 or 2 workshops with the community so that we could maybe get a better pulse beat. And what I'm looking for is an informal forum so we can talk about what the next 4 years may bring. I'd like to know a little bit more about what the community might want to see, what we might be able to do, what we can't do, but at least hear some things. Also, maybe use the forum, if it's appropriate, to talk to the community about some of the things that we think that we want to bring to the table. And that can be anything related to the community as it relates to our government. And I wanted to throw that out to the board to discuss and to the community as well.
I just don't, we probably have to limit it to about 100 people, I guess. What does the training room hold? About 50 or 70? Jim, when you come in next time, let's sit down and think about when we could maybe do something like that, and then where we would want to do it. I don't know if it would be easier to limit the groups to smaller numbers and do more of them, or if it would be easier to see if we could use one of the high school auditoriums, and then there would be easier to keep the social space.
Yeah, the distancing too.
Yeah, this is basis in emotion rather than any knowledge on my part. Zoom might be the best forum right now, rather than getting a bunch of humans together.
Okay. Well, when you come in, let's see if we can pick a date that looks good. We'll try and get something private.
Sometimes we can advertise it. So, okay.
I like, Patty, you mentioned when I was struggling with ordinance versus variance and those kind of rules, maybe.
Yes.
So we could also educate, learn, maybe bring that component to educate all of us.
Yep.
Bring a workshop as well. I think
Yes.
that's a great idea, Jim.
Yeah,
Planning and zoning.
depending upon how much energy and resources we have. You know, when I was on the Tax Board of Review, many people didn't understand the processes with that. And even though there was some literature, you know, once every couple of years, maybe it would be good for the community to understand what goes on and why and how to approach.
Because if you don't know how the process works, it's hard to get an appeal.
Yeah, exactly.
Understand it. It takes some effort usually.
I'm just looking to be a little proactive and get ahead of this, and I'm babbling, but you get the idea, everyone.
Okay. We'll talk when you come in, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else have a comment they want to make?
I would like to.
Sign up.
I would like to make a comment.
Sure.
Am I on?
Yeah, you're on, Teresa. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Well, I would like to make a comment to correct an earlier assertion that Shelley made about my knowledge base. I don't think that it's true what she stated, that I don't know anything about BSNA. That's
I didn't
blatantly
say that. I
false,
said
and
that I assumed because I saw you on it
slanderous.
today.
This is my public comment, and I'd like to finish without interruption. So it is true that Shelley hasn't taught me anything, but that's okay. I'm already pretty proficient in all the BSNA applications that I've been using on a regular basis. The only one that I don't have my own access to is the tax application. And I know how to get the support that I need when I need it to learn the things, so I'm not concerned about learning anything. I don't need to learn a whole lot, but I would like to have access on my own to the BSNA tax so that all of us in the office are not sharing one particular location, having to look everything up for the residents. So also, I would really appreciate if in the future you don't speculate on what you think I know. I'm trying to keep things very positive here in the office. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? How do you get an indication on that?
Chat.
No one else? Okay, if there's no other questions or comments then, a move to adjourn and reconvene for the fire board meeting would be appropriate. So I've made that motion.
Support.
You will support it. Are there any other questions from the board members? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, all opposed? Okay, Chief, we're done with the township meeting and the board is yours. We're all here for the meeting.
You look good in red, by the way.
It's funny to say that, because I got paint all over my hand. Thank you. For the month of August, we ended up with 65 calls, which is down from our normal. Last month we had, I think, 85. Last year we had 92 calls for the month. Total for right now is 535 calls for 2020. Last year, this time we had 642 calls. Any questions on that? I've attached this month's or August and July's incident reports in the package so you can go over them. We didn't have them ready last month. Ladder 1 is out of service due to the antifreeze mixing with the oil. As most of you know, that means it usually means a blown head gasket. Mad Diesel came out, took a look at it. They think it's the same. We're going to deliver it to them tomorrow. So it'll be out of service for a while, and we previously got approval to get it repaired. I asked for a quote, and he rightfully said he can't really give me a quote until he gets it open and sees what's really bad.
I don't think the problem is so much in doing the engine parts, figuring out how to get it.
A lot of panels aren't getting. Station 1 was hit by lightning about 2 weeks ago. It took out the phone system, the paging system, the station base radio, the scanner, cameras, video doorbell, shorted out a relay and Alpha 2, took out our print service, the day room computer, internet from Comcast, the T1 line from the county, and the Needleman exhaust system. So basically, everything in the building. It didn't take out anything at Station 2 though. So.
the lightning didn't go quite that far.
So the Station 1 phone lines have been transferred to Station 2. We get in touch with IP Telecom, and they came out, and they're going to give us a proposal for repair of the phone system. The paging system and the station radio, county came out and put a loaner radio in. We've determined that it is the radio, and we're looking for a replacement radio now. Probably going to be more than $1,000 or somewhere around there at least. The scanner appears to be scanning, but it's not transmitting over the speaker system. So we're going to try and figure that one out.
Is it the one we just voted on with the Motorola components to upgrade? Last month?
You mean for-
No, you were
That was
talking
for
about, that
county.
was to approve the,
That's
moving
this
the
one.
antenna
Oh,
up to
that's
here,
this
that's
one.
what.
Okay.
The cameras, we went and bought a new system and installed it already. Doorbell is still out. 42 ended up being about a $250 relay that was welded on, so you could turn the truck off, but all the radios and everything stayed on. So that's been fixed. Cat Williams changed that out. Print service is hit and miss. My printer was out, even though it was directly wired into my computer. Didn't work at first, but now it seems to be working. But we still at least have the printer in the day room, and the copier is not working. But we did fix the network for that. We bought 2 network switches, and that repaired that. Internet's back up. Comcast came out and replaced the cable lines and the meter system. I don't even think we've called them yet. So we're still working on it. We did get a number from the insurance company, and they're told me just basically keep the copy that we received.
Is it the sign it's time to get a new building?
I was hoping to not get a new phone system until we move, but it says everything will be transferable. So we took the rusty doors off of engine 4, sanded them down, put PR-15 on them, and we repainted them.
They look good.
And we're ready to reinstall them. We ordered new hydraulic lift supports. They came in today, so we'll be putting that back together again hopefully this week. Pumps were tested last week. That's something we do annually, and we tested engine 4, and he said actually that was a very good pump on that truck. So I'm pretty happy about that.
That ended up being a smoking deal.
We didn't test the ladder because of the oil in the water, because that's run for some time. We're in the process of hose testing. We're about 30% done. We have been able to put some of the out of service hose back in service because it did pass. And we had to take some of the old hose out of service because it's pre-1985. But we smart that they've done it for training. So I still use it for that, yeah. But we're not supposed to use it for stuff. And last thing I have, unless there's other questions, is we're planning on burning the training house on September 27th. I have not told the homeowner yet.
You need to preface that because she doesn't live there.
She doesn't live there. I'm sorry, but she just wanted us to live. We were going to do it this weekend, no, next weekend, but that's Fireman's Memorial Weekend.
Yeah.
That's all I have, unless we have some questions.
Oh, thanks. Good report. Anybody on the board have any questions? If not, anybody in the audience have any questions? We'll open it to public comment. No? Okay, if there are no questions, then a motion to adjourn would be in order. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Oh, go ahead. Jim got it.
Jim, okay, Jim second. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Good night.